There's something special about these lands, my father used to say.
There's something special about these lands.
It touched him with a sad happiness, like the smell in the air after the rain has fallen. My father was a simple man, working to put food on the table and doing the best he could to prepare me for the world. It's not easy being a lonely father, trying to raise a girl, but I'd say I turned out pretty good. Sure, I do bad things, but mostly to bad people. And in these times, there are plenty of those. The things I do to protect my home from would-be invaders. I now understand how my father felt. Nirmathas is a wonderful nation, consisting of all of southern Fangwood, the Nesmian Plains, and the Mindspin Mountains. Its people are self-sufficient and determined not to be ruled. This is our choice. This is our happiness. The sadness enters when a foreign power tries to control you and tell you how you can and cannot live. This is where the blood starts to flow, where the singing of birds is replaced by the crying of mothers and dying men. We fight for our freedom. This is our land, free, and it doesn't want to be tamed. Muldoon sees it differently, however. They seek to conquer us and make us part of their slave empire, but that will never happen. We don't like being told what to do, and their superficial societal rules and their strict way of government don't play well with true freedom. See, Nirmathas consists of many different settlements that each have their own way of doing things, and as a result, our government is nearly non-existent. Only when it comes to military matters do the people of this nation accept a common leader. This leader has the title of Forest Marshal and is responsible for the nation's defense. So, how does a nation like ours decide who should lead them into battle? Well, the Forest Marshal is elected by a congregation of representatives that meet every 4 years in the city of Tamron. The representatives come from various communities from all corners of Nirmathas, and each of them must bring a letter stating their representation as community leader, and the letter must be signed by a dozen or more people from that community. Westlin Garvik is our current Forest Marshal, and have been so for the past several terms. He's a strong leader that has an eye on the big picture, and he's a skilled tactician that few can rival. He's without a doubt the best man for the job. But as I've already stated, it's only in military matters. In civil matters, the Forest Marshal is merely a figurehead. Now, of course, there are those that believe that more government would unite us and make our nation stronger. I am forced to admit that it would help a lot on our infrastructure, and maybe it would make us a stronger and more powerful nation, one that could fight off Muldoon once and for all. But it wouldn't be Nirmathas. And in time, I am certain that it would infringe upon our rights to live as we choose. So we have a hard time making allies and trade partners, as Westlin Garvik can make no guarantee that the people of Nirmathas will follow his visions for the nation, lest it be in combat. Lastwall is as far from us as can be in political ideology, but we're neighboring nations, and that has led to some informal agreements between us. Trade between our nations in northern cities like Kasson and Crossfen is going well, and Lastwall is offering bounties for runaway criminals that enter Nirmathas. Some Nirmathi work to catch these criminals, not to earn gold, but to keep the criminals out of our lands. We have enough problems as it is. Nidal is a dark nation that we have no desire to ally with. And if it wasn't for our fight for freedom against Muldoon, Nidal would be our most despised neighbor. Andoran is an ally, and an important one at that. They sympathize with our fight and understand that you must fight for freedom. a fight that never truly ends. For the past few years, Andran has supported our cause by sending armor and weapons through Drumar and overlaking Carthan. They've done so quietly, and though there's no doubt Multhune suspects something, they have yet to prove it. True allies are hard to come by when you live in a free society, my father would say. And how right he was. But what is a free society? Well, Nirmathas is. The Nirmathi don't pay taxes, and each city, village or settlement is governed as they see fit. And there's no formal court system in Nirmathas. Laws and rules can differ greatly from one place to another, and a crime that might give you a scolding in one settlement might cause a thorough beating in another. But that is how true freedom works, and it's the result of true democracy. It might seem a bit chaotic, but don't get the wrong idea. While it's true that Kelid barbarians roamed Fangwood for thousands of years, it's a very long time ago, and Nirmathas is no barbaric nation. Our communities, no matter how different they may be, live in relative harmony and peace with one another. Most of us respect the wild, and see Southern Fangwood as the heart of our nation. And despite the dangers within the woods, it's home to many Nirmathi, including myself. I was born and raised in Chernasardo, which lies in southern Fangwood, and it's home of the famous Chernasardo Rangers, a group that I am proud to be a part of. Out of all the Nirmathi militia, we are the biggest thorn in the side of Multhune. We fight fiercely against the would-be invaders, and know the Chernasardo region so well that our knowledge of it is only rivaled by the Fae that also live here. Now, even though we fight alongside the rest of Nirmathas, we see Chernasardo as an independent region within the nation. In the end, we fight for ourselves. But as long as the fight is the same as the rest of Nirmathas is fighting, you can bet your gold that we'll be there on the front line every time. Or setting up the perfect ambush for a Multhuni border patrol. My father would not approve. If you are willing to take a man's life, you make damn sure you look him in the eyes while doing it and live with it afterwards. But no one was looking into my father's eyes when he took his last breath. He died in a burning building trying to help his neighbors from certain death. Guess who started that fire? Guess who burned down several buildings in their hunt for so-called rebels? If your guess is Multhuni bastards, well then you're right. Look, personally I don't take pleasure in cutting the throats of enemy soldiers, but I've seen friends and family cut down by these bastards, the same way they cut down the trees every time they launch a major assault. Ask the druids of Akon's Rest about the destruction the Multhuni army leaves in its wake. Their leader, a man called Duskwater, fights to restore the forest near the border that Multhune keeps destroying. It must feel like a never-ending battle. But despite their efforts, Multhune have yet to bring us to our knees. They've taken the city of Tamron multiple times, but we've always won it back. Last time they took the city, they burned it to the ground, thinking it would be the end of Tamron. But the people of Nirmathas rebuilt it within a year, and it still stands to this day. Tamron is our nation's capital and a symbol of our resilience. Much of it is wooden ramshackle buildings scattered atop of piers and wharves amidst a murky marshland situated at the mouth of the river Meredith. The city used to have walls, but after the Multhuni army took Tamron the first time, they functioned like prison walls for the citizens that tried to escape, and made it harder for us to recapture the city again. When we took the city back, we tore down the walls. You see, When you come against us with overwhelming force, we run to the woods, lick our wounds, and strike back when you are at your weakest. That's the way we fight, and we're good at it. So, even though we have reclaimed Tamron back every time, it's a gamble to build more permanent buildings when you know the enemy might overrun the city and destroy your homes once again. But we try. A few buildings have been made to last, like the Forest Bounty. Made from enormous timber, the Forest Bounty is a feast hall used for weddings, celebrations, and parties, all of which are important events in war times. It lifts our spirits and let enemy spies know that we can't be broken. And if you ever visit Tamron, don't let the hard shell of its inhabitants make you uncomfortable. There's a certain distrust to strangers for obvious reasons, but it's just a precaution. When trust is earned, you will see that the people of Tamron is a joyful and open lot. Like all of Nirmathas, Tamron has chosen its own leaders, a council known as the Three Speakers. Ollie's Tamain, an old fighter with woodland knowledge, wears the title Speaker of the Bark. Eromina Yasgon is a half-elf woman whose song can bring tears to most people. She's the Speaker of the Heart. And Maislin Torgun, a man with a taste for the finer things in life, serves as Speaker of the Leaves. All three are former military veterans with very different opinions, but they're mild-mannered and they do a good job of seeing to the interests of the city. Westlin Garvik resides in Tamron as well, and so does an enigmatic half-elf by the name of Emerald Bow. She came to Tamron some years ago and have built a druid shrine that consists of living trees that intertwine. She offers her healing power and knowledge about the woods for coin or trade. She's a strange one though, and nothing is really known about her past. But if she's good enough for the people of Tamron, she's good enough for me. Should you ever find yourself in our humble capital, have an ale at the Ranger's Lament, and visit the Tamron market for wares from all over Nirmathas. Now, if you're the adventuring type or a collector of more rare items, you might want to travel down the Meredith to the monthly market at Greenglade. Greenglade is a small hamlet, but once a month it hosts the Greenglade market where anything from well-crafted weapons to mystical artifacts can be bought. The Chernasardo Rangers are always present here, because it's also the place where intelligence about our enemy is exchanged with smugglers coming across the border from Multhune. There are many curious sights in Nirmathas, one being the dwarven sky citadel of Kragodan. The dwarves have been here for over 9,000 years, and I recognize their right to live here, but they stay neutral in the fight against Multhune, and that's something I cannot respect. I don't trust those that are neutral in the face of tyranny, my father used to say, and I couldn't agree more. But if the dwarves of Kragodan wants to act like cowards, it's upon them. Fortunately, not all dwarves in Nirmathas wish to stay neutral. The Dwarven Council of Skelt still shares the rest of Nirmathas' vision of independence from Multhune, even if they don't have to. The city was built by dwarves and is so inaccessible that the threat of Multhune is hardly an issue. It lies by the shining river and is built into the side of a bluff, and is only accessible by strategically placed ramps with drawbridges or lifts powered by enormous water wheels. The same wheels give the city the technology to create extremely effective mining equipment and ore-crushing tools. Skelt mainly trades with the dwarves of Kragodan, but with the trade routes through Bloodsworn Vale open again, the city sees great opportunity in trading with Korvosa, Magnimar, and the rest of Varisia. Other notable settlements in Nirmathas include Fendar, Kasson, and Longshadow. If you ever find yourself in Fendar, seek out Aubin the Green and give her my regards. She's a former Chernasardo ranger, but she had to change her ways after an unfortunate run-in with a group of Anghags that almost rendered her blind. Now she's a community leader in the small town and known for her great storytelling and her foul language. Casson lies by the Torrendale River and is the place where you can get almost anything carved from wood. It's a small town whose main industry is logging. It sees its fair share of visitors due to its location near the river and has a large 2-story inn called the Seven Silvers. The inn is run by Trelvar Silvers, the halfling giants Iggins, and Trelvar's daughter Asina. And it has some of the best prices in the country. Longshadow is a smog-ridden town that's the city of Skelt's biggest competition when it comes to foraging and smelting. This is mostly due to its location near the Hollow Hills, which remains full of valuable minerals that keep the town's industry going. The Hollow Hills is a stretch of land that is named for its many natural caverns and abandoned mines. The people that live in the Hollow Hills are somewhat protected from Multhuni interference due to the rough terrain, but their isolation makes them more vulnerable to bandits and monstrous creatures like harpies and bullets that call the region home. Yes, there are certainly plenty of dangers and mysteries in Nirmathas. The forest is of course filled with all kinds of predators like dire bears and owl bears. You'll even find the rare canopy trolls in Fangwood. But there are even more sinister things lurking in our nation. Ever heard of the Lost Mines? It's exactly as it sounds. A network of mines that disappeared over 200 years ago, along with all those mining in them. Sounds insane, right? Whomever that could have caused such a feat must be dangerous indeed. Or maybe it's just a rumor passed down through the generations of the dwarves having a laugh. Hard to tell. Another rumor that I'm starting to believe is true is that of a settlement within Fangwood hidden from sight. Run by druids, word is that this settlement is called Crystal Hurst and have animals walking alongside humanoids in the streets. Now that's something I'd like to see. There's a lot to explore in our nation, both the good and bad, I guess. Unfortunately, the fight for freedom seems to never end, and I fear I'll never get the chance to see all the wonders of our country. Freedom and love are all that really matters, my father always said. I know, Father, but then why does vengeance and hate fill my heart? Hate for those that took you from me when I was but a child. I fight for freedom with the love you always gave, and with the hate those Multhuni bastards have shown me and my people. What? What's that?
Fanda has fallen.
Fenda?
To hobgoblins.
Hobgoblins? I'm sorry. I must go. Trouble is stirring.